What's up? It is, what day is it? It's Tuesday, January 28th.
Nobody knows.
We're back home. Yesterday felt like, I don't know what yesterday felt like, but we're here. We're talking about the CARS Rule getting the smackdown, make meetings at NADA show, and we're going to talk about this little AI tool coming out of China, which is
Just a wee bitty.
it's kind of thing coming in. I mean,
I've been tracking that one for a hot minute at this point. So.
Hey, look, Kyle, I have a thing here. Look what I got.
Boy.
You don't know what this is.
What's that thing you got there?
I think I know what this is. We're going to unbox it live. Hold on. Need some ASMR. Get stuff. I've never had.
Oh, that's a lot of ears. That's poor people.
Look at that.
Mine hasn't shown up yet.
The future of mobility with Steve Greenfield. There's the handsome devil on the back.
There's that guy. I got a notification, so maybe mine's coming today too. So
this is a book.
It's a full book.
It's got pictures, which means I'll be able to read it.
I know. I saw some of the copies at his event on Friday night. I couldn't pick one up because I was like,
because I can't fit 78 pounds in my bag. This thing is gigantic, Steve.
This man writes words like it's going out of style.
I do like the large format. Like if it just feels good.
Yeah.
It's flexible. Looking forward to read this. If you haven't read this, or if you don't know who Steve Greenfield is, you definitely should. Steve
definitely
Greenfield,
know who Steve Greenfield is.
Just like it sounds, you should get his weekly mobility report, and he also does like a monthly summary. One of the smartest men in the auto industry and in mobile, and also one of the nicest. We're not sure if he's human or not. I don't think he sleeps.
Yeah, I don't think he sleeps or eats. Never seen it happen.
He's one of those 4 to 5 hour guys.
Has to be. There's no way.
The only guy worse than him is the guy that brings his wife flowers next to you when you're standing with your wife.
Oh, that's worse. That's bad. Oh, you had to remind me of that one time.
Well, just
you know what I mean.
The moral of the story is be the guy that has the flowers. That's the moral of the story.
Flowers. Hey, SodaCon is coming in hot now that NADA show is done and dusted. We obviously we love a SodaCon. It's a time to hug all the necks of the people that you know that believe the same thing about people in the business, and we are going to be talking about M&A. We're going to be talking about marketing, operations, fixed ops, mobile technology, everything under the sun is going to be there. You can get tickets right now to SodaCon.com. Tickets right now are $3.99 for dealers, $11.99 for industry partners, and that ends in 2 days.
Yep, February 1st. Everything bumps up like more than 100.
Couple hundred.
I don't know what it goes to. So the people, all those people who got their tickets on Black Friday, we've actually met with some of those at a SodaCon. Black Friday was half off. It's the most off. These are the cheapest they're going to be. So get your tickets. Check out. We're going to be dropping a boatload of speakers and topics and all that. One of the reasons, by the way, we catch flack for this sometimes. But one of the reasons we wait so long to announce topics and panels and all this stuff is because, things change so fast. Oh, yeah. We could never be effective putting topics on 6 months out, right?
Right.
It's a scramble at the end, but I mean, this is what everybody says about a SodaCon. They say, I can't believe the level of community I feel when I step in. Everyone's talking. Everyone doesn't have their body armor on like a typical conference. And the second thing is that the panels and the conversations, everyone's like, they're too short. Can you make them longer? Which means everyone's staying there till the end. And we can actually point back to several products now where the idea and the iteration started on an
full product stage. Massive integrations. Happening from the show.
Yep, that's what we say. Innovative ideas in retail automotive are born. So be there if you can with us. You're not going to be sad if you come. We promise. You and I are wheels up again in just 2 days. Oh, you're leaving tomorrow to get there early with some of the production crew.
No.
Oh,
I'm there
in the morning?
I'm there Thursday morning.
Oh, that's great. I thought you couldn't get that early flight. We're going to Public Policy Day. A lot of people don't know what this is. This is put on by the Washington Area New Car Dealer Association. It's the day before their big auto show, and they bring in policymakers, lawmakers, dealers. Lots of press are going to be there, and basically they talk through the issues that are happening in automotive. This year, we went last year, little presence. This year, way bigger presence. We're going to have a podcast stage before the main stage, so we're going to be interviewing lawmakers. Hopefully we get some members of Congress on there. Tom Castriota is coming down to be our guest on our panel. We're going to be talking about obviously the CARS Rule and everything else that from a dealer perspective. So we have Jim Ganther, Mosaic Compliance Service, Adam Marsberger from Ascent Dealer Services. Yep. And I'm looking forward to spending some time with him, by the way. We've never really jammed.
He's so much energy. Dude is full of energy.
So we're going to be on the main stage. We have a full hour telling It's great. When do we have an opportunity to sit in front of like the Wall Street Journal, the Detroit Free Press, Washington Post, and let them know that there's a very specific group of dealers, and it's a large group who care about the people side of the business and tie that back. So when everyone's talking about, what's going on and what does the consumer think, we get to sit on the stage, represent all of you who are part of this DeSoto community in front of the rest of the world. Speaking of what the consumer thinks.
Stop. Segue.
Time. Come on now.
Sure.
Let's get into that.
This is going to be the topic. A major legal victory for auto dealers comes as U.S. Appeals Court strikes down the Biden administration's FTC CARS rule aimed at regulating dealer pricing and add-ons, along with a looming compliance burden. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 that the FTC failed to follow procedures in creating the rule to begin with. The regulation, which was on hold pending legal challenges, would have required upfront pricing and banned certain add-ons deemed junk fees. NADA and TADA, that's Texas, led the legal challenge, arguing the rule would add unnecessary complexity and cost to the car buying process. NADA President Mike Stanton praised the decision as a, quote, victory for the rule of law and a great outcome for consumers. So this is complicated because I think if you take what I just said, like the description at face value, it might think, wait, you don't want transparent pricing and practices?
Yeah, to be clear, the reason why it was thrown out, the specific reason, is because the lawmakers didn't follow the process. The FTC didn't follow the notification process to get this into the system, right? So that's the reason why it was vacated. The heart behind this is to have better transparency, better processes, better pricing regulations, better regulations on consumers, like confirming this is the stuff that they bought. And so I think for us, the heart is exactly right. The problem and what we see and what NADA sees is that if you're to go and look deeply in this over 300-page document, actually, of the actual rule, the pressure that it puts on dealers from a paperwork perspective, from a holding data for 48 months, from a online advertising, and that when we say online advertising, it's advertising that even a salesperson might talk about a car and its price on their personal Facebook page being included in the documentation that a dealer would have to be checking and looking for. All of those things put increased cost, increased time, all like things that would actually in the end, like when they all work out, hurt the consumer experience when buying a car.
Make it way harder, take way longer, raise the cost because of compliance costs. Here's the deal too. Most of the dealers that we know are already following all the practices in the CARS rule. Again, Kyle said, we're not against any of those. We think it should, that should be the modern practice. It should be the common practice. But the fact that this is really saying you can't ram through a bureaucratic initiative, not a congressional, this is a bureaucratic initiative without really studying the impacts and figuring out a way that we can give this to consumers that is reasonable, that everyone can comply with and keep the consumer experience, improve it, not make it worse. And so I know at face value, the industry is going to take a lot of heat saying we don't care about this. You and I both made LinkedIn posts on this. And, there are people jumping in the comments saying, yeah, F the consumer. It's no, that's not at all what this is.
Not at all.
But what this is, I mean, whatever industry you're in, it's always hey, they came for my friend. I didn't say anything, they came for that friend. And then eventually they came for me and there was no one to say anything, right? Every industry could be at the hands of this. So I think this, again, just sets a great precedent for all of us in any regulated industry that we should always be heard. The consumer should be at the center point and not some kind of overreach that is messing up all kinds of business practice that's going to make it worse for the consumer without knowing what that's going to be.
That's right.
We'll take it. Well, we're definitely going to talk about this in DC.
There's going to be so much conversation.
I know.
Thursday. Wow.
I know. It's going to be great. And we're going to be there right in the middle of it. Maybe causing some trouble. I think so. Speaking of causing trouble.
Oh, always.
Segue.
Time. Always.
The make meetings at the NADA show, it's where the OEMs come in and get all their dealers together specifically. It's the great opportunity for dealers to meet with their factory executives, talk about the year ahead, but the big snowstorm, whatever you want to call it, kept 10 of 26 brands from making it to New Orleans. While some dealers were understanding, others were very frustrated. For the brands that did make it, key updates were shared. Stellantis pushed a big comeback after a rough 2024. Alfa Romeo also walking back its EV plans in favor of a multi-energy strategy. Ford doubled down on affordability, bringing back a lot of base trims. This is great news of the F-150, Escape, and Explorer, plus a new entry-level Bronco. New marketing for Maverick and some other things that have under $30,000 price tags, much needed. Nissan acknowledged their dealer struggles with their new America's chairman, Christian
Meunier.
Kyle's always got me on those pronunciations. Saying, hey, we're committed to improving dealer profits, returning on sales. Infiniti is going to cut the QX50, QX55. Subaru shifted allocation to state by state, adjusting for emissions regulations, and then they probably showed great marketing material and gave each other a hug.
Everybody
at the
gave
end.
each other hugs.
GM said they're staying the course under Trump, reassuring dealers their policy shifts won't impact production plans, even with new tariffs. Cadillac's still aiming to lead the luxury EV segment in 2025. Who wasn't there, Kyle? Who was everybody mad that wasn't there?
Oh, man.
VW.
Who did I hear? VW. Basically, all the German brands didn't make it.
And anybody that Mike Stanton was going to stand outside their make meeting and talk to the press.
Yeah, Honda, Sony, Acura didn't make it either. So
that's
yeah,
smart.
I mean,
they got lucky.
There's 6 brands right there. So I don't know who the other 4 were, but look,
those 2 specifically.
It kind of blows my mind that as a brand you wouldn't get someone there.
I know.
That's it's just unacceptable in my opinion, seeing all of the work that everybody did go through to get there.
I don't know what the final count was, but it's like, I don't know, probably 12 to 15,000 people made it.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what the final count comes out, but like,
I don't know if these 2 jokers can make it.
Also, yeah, if we can make it, goodness sakes.
And our entire team.
But this is what blows my mind is like, okay, so then those 10 automakers now say we're not going to make it. What do their dealers do? Well, they're less incentivized to be there. And so that impacts the downstream of everything that surrounds the NADA, which actually supports going back to the OEM and making it easier and better to sell cars because of the learning and the opportunity to meet new industry partners. Like the cycle that creates is it's just no good. This is, some of the disconnect that I think we see between the dealers and the OEMs. And then the other one, obviously, people rolling back full EV plans, massive news over the last really 2 months. Yeah. And then the interesting one in the Subaru story was that the incentives will vary now by state, which has been something that Subaru has stayed away from, that a lot of other OEMs consistently do region by region, state by state. So just kind of a different move for Subaru from an incentive standpoint.
Gosh, you know what? You mentioned it now. I'm trying to think of what EVs did I see on the floor.
Bright drop.
I did see the bright drop, man.
That's about it.
That was super cool. Wow. Last year, a little different. Remember?
Yeah,
had the whole thing around the thing. Oh, I know. It's like, well, we'll see what happens. But I think this is a great opportunity, like you said, for the OEMs to do something very specific for their dealers to keep that conversation going. Although there's zero substitute for being in person.
There's zero substitute.
For real. Speaking of things that are real or not real,
Segue.
You be the judge.
All right, the AI stock boom faced a major reality check as China's Deepseek introduced an AI model that rivals OpenAI, but with a fraction of the computing power. The news sent NVIDIA's stock plummeting 17%, which accounts for nearly $600 billion in market value in a single day, the largest loss in history for a public company. The model challenges the assumption that advanced AI requires vast amounts of NVIDIA's high-end chips, rattling the entire AI supply chain. It proved to solve problems faster than OpenAI and required fewer resources. The other interesting thing about this is that it's an open sourced AI model, which is pretty surprising coming out of China.
Very.
The S&P 500's tech sector plunged 5.6%. Broadcom and Micron both down. Their other chip makers over 10%. And NVIDIA booked $63 billion in profit over the last year, making it one of the most profitable in history. but obviously there's a lot of vulnerability in the market now. Billionaire stockpiler Leon Cooperman said the AI trade has become too crowded. Every third word out of everyone's mouth was AI.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like that at the NADA show, but not every third word, maybe like every 10th word.
10th word. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It was a part of conversations, and rightfully so. You know, this question, right? Like, how did China actually accomplish that? Right? Do they have some ability to acquire chips that no one really knows about, right? Because all the chip makers all of a sudden drop. So it's either A, they're able to get chips, or they're able to accomplish more with a lower level of tech, which is probably even a little bit more shocking to all the chip makers, right? I did see some things like some benchmark testing. It does definitely show a bias toward the CCP. You know, like that makes sense. But without a doubt, like, people are trying this and they're getting out there. Open source thing is kind of the mind-boggling part. But I mean, it's just a big player just entered the race, right? It's like everybody's chilling by the pool, right? Got their little spot, and then someone does a cannonball. It's like, that's how I see this.
It's pretty wild. I mean, it's impressive API docs, extremely low compute cost, extremely low raw cost to people utilizing the API, and mastering problems very similar. Very, very wild kind of like entrant to the market. It'll challenge the way that AI companies are building these models for sure.
Well, without a doubt, we're getting situated back here behind our desks, trying to get the word out, trying to get the work on. Look, go to asoducon.com. Check the cheap tickets before they get more expensive. And February 1st, we will see you here tomorrow morning.